I am your guest host, Rosie O'Donnell. That's me. A special hello to those of you watching from home and from the White House. But I do have some bad news for President Petty Roosevelt. That's all I'm going to say about you tonight, sweetheart. You got to realize it's time to hang up your wig and let Natalie tuck you in.
Now we take one step back and look at this whole story, because this is not only about the old fight between Rosie O'Donnell and Donald Trump. There is something much bigger happening here. On one side, you have Rosie O'Donnell, a woman Trump has openly disliked for many years. On the other side, you have one small joke that suddenly made Republicans talk about respect for women. And that is where this story gets really interesting. Rosie making fun of Trump is nothing new. These two have been attacking each other for years. So when Rosie brings up Natalie Harp and jokes that maybe it is time for someone to put Trump to bed, it is not just a random joke. It hits a place that already seems to be very sensitive for Trump and his party. And remember, Rosie was not the first person to bring Natalie Harp into this. Before that, John Off had already used her name while making fun of Trump. He said Trump doesn't want to do the job. He said Trump wanted to build his barroom, travel around, and spend time with Natalie Harp. Now you can say that joke was unnecessary. You can say it was personal. But here is the important part. He did not accuse Natalie Harp of committing a crime. He did not make some serious claim about her character. He was mainly making fun of Trump. But Republicans reacted like someone had launched a massive attack on women. Newt Gingrich said John Off should personally apologize to Natalie Harp. Stephen Chung responded with very sharp and very personal language. Piers Morgan called the comments repellent. Scott Jennings said this was an ugly message for young women in politics. Yes, women should be treated with respect. That part should not even be controversial. But if that is now the rule, then we have to ask one simple question. Where was this rule for the last 10 years? Because Trump's own history when talking about women is not exactly gentle. We have heard that comments about Megyn Kelly. We have heard women called fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. We have watched personal attacks on female politicians again and again. And many of those same Republicans either ignored those comments or defended Trump. So when those same people suddenly becomes deeply defended by one unclear joke, the difference is very hard to miss. At that point, this stops looking like a strong moral rule. It starts looking like a rule that changes depending on who said it. And that is the deeper point in this whole story. In American politics, respect for women can sometimes become a political weapon. When your own side says something ugly, the answer becomes it was only a joke. Or people say, look at the context. Or they say the media is making it look worse. But when the other side says something much smaller, suddenly everyone starts talking about respect, morals, and women's rights. That double standard is what makes this clip more than just comedy. But then the story gets much more serious. And we have to be clear, these are allegations. These are not the same as a proven crime. The legal process still matters. But the political reactions is still worth looking at. When here is one joke about Natalie Harp, we get immediate anger. But when a Republican member faces very serious allegations, suddenly the language becomes much calmer. Then we hear this is a family matter. We hear let the process work. We hear he is a good man. We even hear hopes that he wins again. And again, the question is not whether he should ignore due process. Of course, he should not. The question is why the moral anger seems so different depending on whose side is involved. If respect for women is really the rule, then that rule should be work for everyone. It should not become important only when a Democrat says something about a Republican, and it should not disappear when the situation becomes uncomfortable for your own party. Otherwise, this is not really about defending women. It is about political convenience. So yes, Rosie O'Donnell's joke may make Trump anger. It may make Republican anger too, but Rosie is not really the biggest story here. The biggest question is this: what actually makes Washington angry? Is it bad language? Is it disrespect toward women? Or bad it only becomes a problem when that same language is used against their own side? Because if that is the answer, then this is not really a debate about morals. It is about team politics.